operations of reason, this element is anarchic. Lecture 1. The topic I am considering, the function of reason, is one of the oldest topics for philosophical consideration. What is the function of reason amid the welter of our mental experiences, amid our intuitions, our emotions, our purposes, and our decisions of emphasis? In order to answer such questions, we have to consider the nature of reason, its essence. Of course, this is a hackneyed theme. Its discussion stretches back to the very beginnings of philosophic thought. But it is the business of philosophers to discuss such fundamental topics and to set them on the stage illuminated by our modern ways of thinking. Various phrases suggest themselves, which recall the special controversies depending on the determination of the true function of reason. Faith and reason, reason and authority, reason and intuition, criticism and imagination, reason, agency, and purpose, scientific methodology, philosophy and the sciences, rationalism, skepticism, dogmatism, reason and empiricism, pragmatism. Each of these phrases suggests the scope of reason and the limitation of that scope. Also, the variety of topics included in them shows that we will not exhaust our subject by the help of a neat little verbal phrase. Yet, despite this warning to avoid a mere phrase, I will start with a preliminary definition of the function of reason, a definition to be illustrated, distorted, and enlarged as this discussion proceeds. The function of reason is to promote the art of life. In the interpretation of this definition, I must at once join issue with the evolutionist fallacy suggested by the phrase, the survival of the fittest. The fallacy does not consist in believing that in the struggle for existence, the fittest survive to eliminate the less fit. The fact is obvious and stares us in the face. The fallacy is the belief that fitness for survival is identical with the best exemplification of the art of life. In fact, life itself is comparatively deficient in survival value. The art of persistence is to be dead. Only inorganic things persist for great lengths of time. A rock survives for 800 million years, whereas the limit for a tree is about 1,000 years. For a human being or an elephant, it is about 50 or 100 years. For a dog, about 12 years. And for an insect, about 1 year. The problem set by the doctrine of evolution is to explain how complex organisms with such deficient survival power ever evolved. They certainly did not appear because they were better at the game than the rocks around them. It may be possible to explain the origin of species by the doctrine of the struggle for existence among such organisms, but certainly this struggle throws no light whatever upon the emergence of such a general type of complex organism, with faint survival power. This problem is not to be solved with any dogma that is the product of mere abstract thought elaborating its notions of the fitness of things. The solution requires that thought pay full attention to the empirical evidence and to the whole of that evidence. The range of species of living things is very large. It stretches from humankind throughout all the vertebrates and the insects, and the barely organized animals that seem like societies of cells, and throughout the varieties of vegetable life, and down to the minutest microscopic forms of life. At the lower end of the scale, it is hazardous to draw any sharp distinction between living things and inorganic.